Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the CRA Advisory Committee meeting for this Monday, November the 13th, 2023. Can we have a roll call, please?
Good evening. Advisory Committee Member Kenneth Each.
Present.
Advisory Committee Member Blanco Cobo.
Present.
Advisory Committee Chair Michael McDermott.
Present.
Advisory Committee Member Naomi Blemure.
Present.
Chairman, you have a quorum to proceed.
Okay, thank you. Can we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance? The flag is to our right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Can we have approval of the minutes for October the 9th?
10, sir.
Pardon?
October 10.
I think it would have been October the 9th.
Is it? And it's a
Yes.
misprint?
On the Advisory Committee agenda.
Oh, I got you.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
You're correct.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion, we approve.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, approval of the minutes for March 6, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Agenda item number 1. Annabelle? Okay.
Good evening.
What are we doing with this thing?
A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Development Agency approving an amendment to the residential rehabilitation program guidelines to provide for an increase in the funding limit from $20,000 to $30,000 and providing an effective date. NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA board amend the guidelines of the residential rehabilitation program specifically to increase the funding limits from 20 to 30,000. Since the residential rehabilitation program was approved by the NMCRA board in April 2021, the NMCRA has completed 28 projects and currently has 25 projects in progress. Due to inflation and market conditions, however, the cost of construction materials and labor has significantly increased over the past few years. This has resulted in homeowners facing difficulties completing necessary rehabilitation projects within the existing funding limits. To better accommodate these rising costs and ensure eligible homeowners can address critical repairs and renovations, staff is proposing increasing the funding limit to $30,000. Staff recommends approval of the resolution.
Okay, any questions?
No.
Questions? I think that's a good jump. Probably could be more the way that, the way the costs for construction are. Everybody's screaming and yelling about it, so. Do I have a motion to approve the item?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item number 2.
A resolution of the chairman and the board of members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving and adopting the amended and restated bylaws of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency and providing for an effective date. NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA board approve the resolution to amend the NMCRA bylaws. On July 31st, 2021, the NMCRA board authorized the review and approval of residential grants up to $25,000 by the executive director for expediency. This funding limit matched the spending authority of the executive director as provided under the NMCRA bylaws. NMCRA staff is seeking approval of an increase of the funding limit for the residential rehabilitation program grant guidelines to $30,000. As such, NMCRA staff is also seeking an amendment to the NMCRA bylaws to increase the executive director's spending authority to match the $30,000 grant funding limit. Additional revisions to the NMCRA bylaws include the clarification of the executive director's responsibilities, the public noticing of meeting dates, and provision of meeting agendas. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Okay. Any discussion?
Makes sense.
That makes sense, absolutely. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Number 3, Cass?
No. Requests that the North Miami CRA Board's approval of the Auditor Selection Committee's recommendation to select HCT Certified Public Accountants and Consultants LLC, HCT, to provide independent auditing services for the NMCRA in response to RFP number 52-22-23. Further authorizing the NMCRA Executive Director and NMCRA Attorney to finalize and execute an agreement with the selected firm, providing for an effective date and all other purposes. Staff is requesting that the North Miami CRA Board of Approval approve the Auditor Selection Committee's recommendation to select HCT to provide independent auditing services for NMCRA in accordance with the terms and conditions in RFP number 52-22-23 for an initial 3-year term with 2 additional 1-year renewal options and a first-year fee not to exceed $18,750. Just as a quick overview, there was an RFP selection that was done. It was issued on September 18th, 2023, and on November 1st, 2023, it closed. HCT was the only firm that responded to that RFP. This is a statutory requirement for the agency to be able to conduct its independent auditing services, and this is the firm that responded, meeting all the qualifications. Staff is recommending approval.
Okay. Any discussion?
I just have a quick question. So the first year fee is only $18,750?
That was what they requested.
Okay.
That's fairly consistent to what they've been charging in the past. They've been the auditors of the CRA for probably the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's usually been in that range, yeah.
1-year audit for CRAs, is that about $18,000?
Yes.
Yes.
Your mic needs to be on, I'm sorry.
Okay, for some, being in accounting, I just thought it would be much more for the 1 year, but okay.
We're grateful.
Yes,
Yeah.
be very grateful.
I mean, and we're a single fund agency, so there's really,
Okay.
it's not like we're the city where there's all kinds
Correct.
of different funds and a
Okay,
much larger audit has to be performed.
okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, good.
Okay, any further discussion? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, moving on to agenda item 4.
A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving an agreement with PFM Financial Advisors, LLC, to provide financial advisory services in an amount not to exceed $75,000, utilizing the City of Pompano Beach contract with PFM Financial Advisors, LLC, per RFP number E-34-17 for financial advisory services. Authorizing the executive director to execute the agreement with PFM Financial Advisors, LLC, authorizing the executive director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreement and providing for an effective date. NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA board authorize a professional services agreement with PFM Financial Advisors, LLC, for financial services for for fiscal year 23-24 at an annual cost not to exceed $75,000 based on the City of Pompano Beach contract per RFP number E-34-17. Basically, this is the City of Pompano Beach. That was the original contract, and they were renewed in March of 23, giving PFM a 5-year renewal of its contract with the City of Pompano Beach, and the City of North Miami is seeking to piggyback off of that contract for its renewal for the $75,000 renewal term.
Okay, any questions?
Now, this is for the bond issue,
Yes, it is.
and they're going to give us expert advice and keep us within the guidelines.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Agenda item 5.
Request authority for the North Miami CRA Executive Director and the North Miami CRA Attorney to finalize and execute an agreement between the North Miami CRA and Savino and Miller Design Studio to provide landscape architectural services for the Pioneer Boulevard Median Improvement Project located along Northeast 137th Street between Northeast 6th Avenue and West Dixie Highway for a not-to-exceed fee of $126,000, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. At this time, I will hand it over to my program director, who is more familiar with this item.
Thank you. What the intent of this rehabilitation is the medians. I don't know if you're aware from Northeast 6th Ave to West Dixie, where we're going to activate all medians, and we'll have walkways, we'll have park benches, trash cans, just to beautify the area and activating it. We are currently working with Savino Miller. They are going to do the design, the construction, and they will be part of the RFP process once everything is completed.
Okay.
They're gonna, I'm sorry, they're gonna be designing
Yes, that is correct.
okay.
Yeah, they will be, I don't know if this, okay, yeah, they will be designing. They'll be part of they will start with the designing phase as well as the construction documents.
So there's gonna be design build?
Yes,
Okay.
We're going to see the design before they build it.
of course, yeah, we'll need your input.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Before we go forward, what is the time frame that we expect for this to be fully rolled out?
Well, we are hoping as soon as this gets approved, they can start working and have the project completed by September.
Okay.
By September, wow.
Yes.
That's fast.
Next
I mean,
year.
Yes, September next year.
That's slow.
You
Now,
never
that
know.
is fast.
Yeah, that is-
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 6.
A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the executive director and NMCRA attorney to negotiate and finalize an agreement with Content Nice LLC to provide content creation and website management services for fiscal year 2023-2024 for an amount not to exceed $31,200, authorizing the executive director to execute the agreement with Content Nice LLC, authorizing the executive director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreement, and providing an effective date. NMCRA is requesting that the NMCRA board authorize a professional services agreement with Content Nice for content creation and website management for fiscal year 23-24 at an annual cost not to exceed $31,200. Staff is further requesting an approval of a proposed bid waiver pursuant to Section 7-120 subsection B of the City Codes of Ordinances, which requires board approval by no less than a 4/5 vote. And as background, the Content Nice team has been the regular social media team that has attended all of the events and all of our groundbreakings for the agency for the past year. They're very familiar with the work that we do, our grantees, the board, advisory committee, and so they know how we operate and has produced great content thus far, so we're very happy with their services.
Okay.
I actually have been watching the page more because it's lively. They capture the moment and kind of cause you to either have wanted to been there if you weren't, or to keep posting and looking at what the city is doing. I think that's very, very important because with all of the great work that the CRA does, if you do not have a social media platform that's actually articulating that, it seems as if you're not doing anything when in reality you're very active. So I think that's, that's pretty good.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, moving on to agenda item number 7.
A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the executive director and North Miami CRA attorney to negotiate and finalize an agreement with Hip Rockstar to provide communication management services for fiscal year 2023-2024 for an amount not to exceed $74,100. Authorizing the executive director to execute the agreement with Hip Rockstar LLC, authorizing the executive director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreement, and providing an effective date. NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA board authorize a professional services agreement with Hip Rockstar LLC for communication management services at an annual cost not to exceed $74,100. Staff is further requesting an approval of a proposed bid waiver pursuant to section number 7-120 subsection B of the city's Code of Ordinances, which will require a board approval by no less than a 4/5 vote. For background, Hip Rockstar is a full services communications firm that will be responsible for creating and disseminating the NMCRA's newsletter, the press releases, and the annual report. They also will develop a social media strategy and manage the social media platforms that the agency has, and will also have a community outreach and public information services campaign for all of our projects and our programs.
Question.
Yes.
I noticed in the prior, when they also provide content creation and website management.
Okay.
So they're like piggybacking on one another?
No, so they are different. So while they are together, the communications team for the North Miami CRA, they have different functions. So Content Nice, they are content creators. They go to the events, they capture the moment, they take the video, they take the photography, they may take some interviews on the, at the events to create the content. Hip Rockstar then takes that content and they are the ones who are then putting it together to do a press release, or they're going to create our annual report that we get every year, or they also do our monthly newsletter. They will also create specialized campaigns as we are rolling out different projects that are happening. They will create a campaign around that project or do more outreach in the communities to make sure that people are understanding what our programs are. So they're different related services, but they are different.
So for example, if someone is actually creating the content, there's someone who's designing and structuring it how you see it on social media.
Well, I
It's-
understand that, but
Say that again,
Why
I'm sorry.
can't they do
I'm
one,
lost
do
in the
both?
fog.
Well, of course, Executive Director Annabelle can explain why they can't do both. But generally speaking, the person who shoots the videos, take the pictures, is not necessarily the person who's actually
Okay.
going on social media and creating an experience for you. It's two different things.
So-
but I'm
so-
sure
So
she
the
can-
cameraman is different, they don't,
Right, it's two
they don't
different
do
things.
the composition and.
Correct.
And there are other services that are not. So for instance, the creation of the annual report, that content, that language that is done, Content Nice doesn't necessarily produce the language, they produce content. So, each firm has their own specialties. Press releases, that's not something that Content Nice does, but Hip Rockstar does. So, the array of services are different.
has Rockstar been working with us?
Yes, we have been working with them for a few months. I am very pleased with them. I've worked with them in the past, and they've also worked with the city of North Miami as a separate entity before on other campaigns. So they are not new to the city of North Miami.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to agenda item 8.
A resolution of the chair and the board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the funding for the Museum of Contemporary Art, Inc., a Florida not-for-profit corporation, MoCA, in the form of a grant in the amount of $70,000 to provide funding for MoCA's Arts on the Plaza program, authorizing the executive director and NMCRA attorney to negotiate and finalize an agreement with MoCA to provide funding for MoCA's Arts on the Plaza program, authorizing the executive director to execute the agreement, authorizing the executive director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreement, and providing for an effective date. NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA board approve a grant agreement with the Museum of Contemporary Art, MoCA, for $70,000 for its fiscal year 23-24 Arts on the Plaza program. This is its fourth year that MoCA will commission a set of new and temporary public artworks on MoCA Plaza. The series will feature 4 site-specific temporary public art commissions throughout December 2024. And Art in Public Places seeks to replace blight by enriching the lives of North Miamians, ensuring vibrancy and access to art and culture in Miami-Dade's 6th largest metropolis. Staff is recommending approval of the resolution.
Okay. Any questions, discussion? Have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And last but not least, agenda item number 9.
A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the first amendment to the infrastructure grant agreement between the North Miami CRA and TRNM Holdings LLC. Approving the first amendment to tax increment recapture incentive agreement between the NMCRA and TRNM Holdings LLC. Authorizing the executive director to execute the first amendment to infrastructure grant agreement and the first amendment to tax increment recapture incentive agreement. Authorizing the executive director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the first amendment to infrastructure grant agreement and first amendment to tax increment recapture incentive agreement and providing an effective date. TRNM Holdings LLC, the grantee, is requesting that the NMCRA board authorize the first amendment to both its infrastructure grant agreement and its tax increment recapture incentive agreement, collectively the agreements, to extend the deadline until December 31st, 2024 for the completion of the conditions precedent as well as the funding term. Essentially, this was a grant that was given to the grantee on June 22nd of 2021 for a multifamily residential rehabilitation project known as the Lower North Miami. The award for the infrastructure agreement was not to exceed $204,238, with $9.6 million to be spent for infrastructure work and $5.5 to be spent on permit and impact fees. And the award for the tax increment recapture incentive agreement was a 50% rebate of the projected city ad valorem taxes not to exceed $5.4 million. There were certain, and they're outlined in the memo, for different conditions precedent before the NMCRA has to begin paying out its obligations, and the grantee is currently seeking an extension of time to complete those conditions precedent.
So I have a few questions. So the first question is, the time frame that was given to them originally to complete the requirements for the first drawdown was how much?
Well, for all 4 of the conditions precedent, December 31st, 2023 would be the final date for the completion of all 4 of those.
Okay,
This December 31st
This-
coming, this December.
coming.
Mhm.
And I don't see the attachment. Why are they not able to meet the December 2023 deadline? I understand we're giving them an extension, and obviously we are at free will to do so, but why? What happened?
Well, the board has not yet approved that extension. It is being requested. I think the outstanding obligations are the last one, which is outlined here, grantee obtaining equity or equity of debt or a combination thereof in an amount sufficient to complete the project. So there are financing concerns. Yes, I don't believe the grantee has all their financing together.
So is it possible that 1 year from now, although we grant this exception, we might be at the same place again?
I believe anything is possible.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think you should know that since you didn't see the documents that were negotiated, there's or are they here, Annabelle?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're here. So
they're attached.
there's a
Page 11?
There's an option for them to extend for another year. I think your question is probably better answered by the developer than by staff and myself. The developer's not here tonight. I kind of expected them to be here because I do think this is a very important item for the CRA. But, you know, basically, it seems to me that it's, you know, market conditions. I mean, we all know what's happening out there in the market. Cost of money is, you know, much more than it was a year ago. But there is an option, your question about, you know, what happens if we come to another year and they haven't done it, there's an option to extend for another year.
Can we give them only 1-year extension rather than the option for additional years?
That's up to this committee and to the board. So the documents that are presented to you were basically the best deal that we were able to negotiate with the developer based on their request.
Do they have a lot of work left to be done?
They haven't even started.
They haven't
They
begun the
haven't
project.
Oh,
started.
my God.
Gosh,
The permits are apparently ready to be issued, according to them. I haven't seen any documentation to that effect. Their site plan has been approved by the city. And as you know, this is the land that the city is leasing to the developer.
where's the location on this again? I'm looking through
What
here.
do you want, the location, Kenny?
Yeah, please.
Here, I have the agreements here. Because I thought questions might come up, so let me look through it. It's 2 parcels owned by the city, located at the intersection of Northeast 18th Avenue and Northeast 143rd Street.
Okay, all right, Northeast 18th and 143rd. This is, with Jimmy Tate, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. And he came before the city council, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of meetings back, about asking for an extension or something to that effect.
Well, this is not the same thing though, right?
I don't know. Is it?
It's a different extension.
Yeah, I thought, that's what I thought, yeah.
I believe his extension at the city council was with respect to the payment of rent and the rent commencement date.
Right.
Was that it? Okay.
Now, this is Jimmy's project as well?
Yes, it's all the same project. It's called Allure.
So just to, can you, I'm sorry, can you please clarify the differences between the requests at the city council meeting and this particular request?
Okay, well, I was not at the council meeting, but my understanding is since the land is being leased to the
Mhm.
developer by the city for 99 years,
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
at some point he has to start, the developer has to start paying rent to the city.
What
Okay.
is the rent?
I don't know. I don't, that's
And
not
he-
something that we are involved in or negotiated. We are involved in providing the $15 million grant.
Okay, so just to be clear, although you're not involved in that aspect of it, there is another request on the table to extend when he should begin paying for the 99-year lease.
That's my understanding, yes. And my understanding was the matter was deferred by the city council to this meeting tomorrow so that the CRA's, the request of the CRA for an extension and the request of the city for the extension could be heard on the same night.
Got it.
I got you, okay. Now, all right, it all falls
Okay.
apart. So what we're asking now is for an extension, is that correct?
The grantee is requesting an
I'm
An
extension.
extension to the conditions, the deadline to meet the conditions precedent for funding under the grant agreement.
And you said there was an agreement in the.
In your materials, after
that
the staff
grants them an
memo,
additional year,
Right,
or
yes.
grants them
There's an option to extend.
Yeah,
an option, okay.
yeah, it's in your,
Okay,
right,
so then if it's in there.
yeah, it's in there.
all right.
The option to extend is
Okay,
paragraph 4.
It's coming, okay. All right. So you're asking us to basically go along with the option to extend.
We're not asking you all to do anything, okay?
I mean,
It's a
that's the
policy
proposal.
decision to be made by the committee. And your advice is then given to the CRA board.
But I mean, this is what I'm saying, let me rephrase that. What we're looking at is make a decision on, we should grant that option to extend it for another year,
Or possibly two,
too.
correct.
I'm gonna ask probably a very controversial question. At what point is this project gonna begin?
That's a question for the developer, not for us. I mean,
Because if,
we're a funding source, that's all we are.
right, because if you say that there is a request on the table, and I get it, everyone is complaining about, construction costs. But if there is a request on the table to start paying the 99-year lease, and now there is also a request on the table to extend the time frame by which he would have had completed 4 specific requests that is part of the CRA's guideline, right?
Correct.
And there is the possibility that he may come back after that 1 year and ask for another extension. What is the realistic date of actually breaking ground with this?
That's a developer question, really.
I mean, I think they should have been here.
The
Well, I
answer
agree
is
with that.
any time between tomorrow and 2 years from tomorrow.
And as a source of lending, are we okay with that?
Well, I mean,
I mean, what
the
is staff's
CRA,
position?
let's understand, the CRA is already contractually obligated to provide the grant, subject to
Okay.
the terms of the grant agreement,
The current terms.
the current terms, which had the date of December 31st, 2023, to meet the contingencies. The developer's saying, you know, they can't do that, obviously. They're asking for an extension. You know, these things, you know, are sometimes fluid, you know, markets change, construction costs change, interest rates go up. They're asking for an extension. So it's up to you all to decide whether, I mean, this came before you,
Okay,
you
I
know,
got you.
2 years ago. And it was approved. And so, you know, again, I would think that on something like this, you know, that the developer would be here to answer these type of questions. Because it's important, you know, when you ask those questions, that there's someone who actually has the answer.
I caught part of the city council, I didn't catch the whole thing. But you hit it on the head, development costs have shot up, cost of borrowing money has shot up, and, we're already committed to the project, so the only downside, it's not costing us anything to give him an extension or give the developer an extension. We've given other people extensions on different projects, have we not, over the years?
Is it true that it's not costing us anything to give them extension?
There's not a financial cost to it, to the extent that the monies will have to still be rolled over continually for this project and not doing other things within the CRA.
Are they paying any interest or anything like that?
No, our grants are interest-free.
Yeah, they're interest-free. If it's not costing us anything, then my gut feeling is say, give them the extension, let them fight it out tomorrow.
So
Now, we
I
can-
understand
we can
that.
give- Oh, I'm sorry. We can give them just 1 year, right? Rather than
You
1 year
can make
plus
that
options?
You
recommendation.
can make that recommendation, sure.
So I know that the other part of this is the 99-year lease. If we agree to give them an extension, will we be getting anything? Will they start paying on the 99-year lease? Or they're asking,
So that's a city item. So while they are related to the same project, they're very different items.
got it,
So the CRA will not see a dime from that lease.
okay. Got it. Okay, so is it the will of the board to move forth with a one-year extension and with no possibility of renewal, or vote on the item as is?
Well, I just soon vote on the item as is. It's gonna go to the council and the CRA board tomorrow.
What is your
Let
thought?
them,
No, it's the same thing, they have to participate on that, the CRA board and all that. They have to make a decision also, right?
So I
Right, they
want-
have to make a decision, but what is our decision as a
They're
board?
looking for our
They're looking for our input.
No,
so I would
Do you
say
wanna
yes,
go?
I would go along with the extension and,
you have no choice.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, we have a choice. We could say, no, we don't want the
And then
extension,
what
but.
do they do, and what happens?
Well, maybe the compromise is 1 year without any additional, because as the executive director pointed out, it ties up the money. So if they get 1 year plus the possibility of 2 extensions, that's 3 years that money is tied up. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
So we don't want that to happen.
Well,
Do we?
Right.
I'm looking at this CRA staff report here. And I see like Ricky's tie, we approved the money back in 2019. Now it's 2023, and you were asking me before, I walk by there, I see the job being done. I mean, you're talking 3 years, whatever here on other projects, so.
You know, there's a lot of things involved, like the weather, they
Yeah,
might
I
not
would
be
just-
able to work as they had expected to do it. It's a lot of things involved.
No, I think the big thing, I think council hit it on the head is the cost of borrowing money today and the cost of construction has really put a lot of people on the cusp, you know.
Yeah.
You know, myself, I just say, yeah, I would approve it. Let it go forward.
Okay, Blanca,
I agree.
what, as is,
No, what Kenny said.
Yeah, as is.
for the
Yeah.
3 years?
If they haven't even started, it's not gonna be done in less than that time. Probably they're gonna need a lot more,
Okay.
because we have a lot of things to worry about, whether it's raining or not, whether they have the material ready, so much that goes with the construction, that you think that you're gonna do it in 3 days, and it might take you 3 months. So, you never know, so we have to agree.
Okay, Kenny, do you wanna
I make a motion that we approve the,
item as
item
is?
as is.
And I'll second it.
Okay. All right, I guess we need a roll call vote.
Advisory Committee Member Kenneth Each.
Yes.
Advisory Committee Member Blanca Cobo.
Yes.
Advisory Committee Chair Michael McDermott.
Yes.
Advisory Committee Member Naomi Blemure.
So I have a yes with I guess, an amendment?
You have to vote on the item as presented.
No.
Okay. The motion passes with a 3-0 vote.
3 to 1.
A 3-1. A 3-1.
Okay.
What would, what would you?
1 year, 1 year. I just think that, we have a CRA that is supposed to, that is established to do a specific role in the city. When you drive up and down West Dixie Highway, we should be ashamed of the way that it looks and that it consistently looks like that. And there is no movement to actually change the face of West Dixie Highway. And I'm not even going to go and talk about all the other corridors that are just blighted. At what point are we actually going to move the city forward and ensure that the CRA does what it's supposed to be doing? I just think at some point there just has to be rules and they have to be enforced because there's a job to be done. I mean, that's just the reality. And if we just sit here and just, push the can down, push the can down, push the can down, well, guess what? Money's just going to be tied up, and we're just going to wake up every day, and North Miami is going to continue to look the way it currently does. We have the city that we have because of the decisions that we make. Thank you.
That's very true what you said. And I have to concur, Dixie Highway does look terrible.
It's terrible.
I have seen some improvements going on there, but not enough. I agree with you. It's, I can remember the Blue Royal Motel over there. Now, that's knocked down, and there's other projects going on. And when I pass 143rd Street, I see development, which is in the county. But it is what it is.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Do we have a CRA attorney's report?
No reports, sir.
Executive Director?
As promised, the CRA has provided the CRA staff report that is giving an update on our commercial grant projects, our residential rehabilitation program projects. If I can turn the pages quickly enough. Other miscellaneous projects, our capital projects, and our infrastructure projects. And basically, this gives you everything that is currently on our books with a description, board approval date, what's allocated to that project, what's currently spent, what's currently the balance on those projects, as in what we still need to spend on those, and when we expect to complete these projects. So if anybody has any questions about anything they see in this report, please let us know. I gave you an extra blank sheet.
Okay, any,
Yeah,
there's no public here, so, anybody, board members, any questions or?
yeah.
I just have a quick question
Mhm.
on residents at Nomi.
Yes.
Can you give us a brief overview of where that project is right now?
As you
I see 0 has been spent, so.
Yes, and what that is they are ready to collect a first reimbursement. However, we are not ready. We do.
Okay.
It's in our fiscal year for 2024, which we are currently in. However, we are waiting to receive our TIF checks from both the city and the county, which happens in January. So we'll start making payments once we get ours.
Okay, great. And then the Nomi elderly loss.
Yes.
So seems like the bulk of their money has been spent.
Yes.
Where is that project?
It is still pending.
What happened? What's going on?
There has just been, so the last report from the developer was that was a lot of supply chain issues that were going on, and they did provide proof that one of the critical pieces that they needed was going to be delayed for several months. I think they have received that piece now, so they are looking to try and complete the project. I think they're running into a couple of other hiccups, and we are trying to work with them to see how they're going to resolve those issues.
So do you know when their estimated time? I mean, it's only 5 units.
We are going to be meeting with them this month, so there is going to be a sit down to really discover and find out where they currently are on their resolutions and when they are going to complete the project. So after we have that meeting and an update from the developer, we'll be able to update you as well.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, the garden residence, where is that moving?
That project is moving on quite well. We are expecting completion in next April, and they are
That's up the street on 125th, right?
correct.
Is that 4th and 125th?
Turn on your mic and speak.
It doesn't say on here, I just wondered.
Pardon?
Where's the location?
Oh, the location is right here on 125th Street. Well, it's on 126th Street,
Right.
but it's by 8th Avenue, I believe. 8th Avenue and 126th Street.
I think it's 13th Avenue and
Oh.
126 or 27.
Yeah. It's right on the corner of 12th and 120.
There you go.
Oh, that's the garden.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm-
Sebastian
I'm-
Scamo's project.
And that radius,
Yeah,
yes.
what's the one on 4th and 125th? Is that on the CRA thing here?
Yeah, 4th and 125th.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's on our list.
okay.
Yes, that is.
This is Sebastian's thing here, the garden, right? Yeah, okay.
That's.
I got it.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
27 units.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And,
Okay,
and
any
on
other-
Ricky's tire, we looking to come to fruition on that now almost?
Yes, we are. He is in the final phases. He was having some issues with Durham, with passing the final inspection, and now that he's moving
I see a
along,
lot of work going on
Yes,
over there.
yeah.
I walk by there. Yeah.
he should be done soon.
All right. And what is the 17th Avenue rehabilitation grant, do impact windows and doors, awnings, and what is that one? There's no address on it.
Oh, it's on 127th and 17th Avenue. He's doing a complete renovation of the building. I think he has 5 or 6 units. The project was, well, he started late because of COVID, but now he's almost done. He's in the landscaping phase.
Oh, what is it, a quadruplex? or-
Yeah, exactly.
If you could in the future, just a suggestion, put the addresses down.
We
I
will.
think that would be
I've made
very
the
helpful.
note, and I was about to give that, pass it along to staff, so
I used
yes.
to know most of the city, but as I get older, I get
No,
forgetful now,
absolutely.
so please so forgive me. I know that the gray hair matches my brain.
We appreciate the feedback.
Thank you.
I have a really quick question. I think that, CATS, they receive funds, but I don't see them here.
They had their grand opening not too long ago, so that's why they're not listed as a project.
Okay, and where are they?
They're pretty much done. We're just processing their final reimbursement, so
I mean, I just asked because they're a new business, and so every dollar counts
absolutely.
at this time.
Yeah. So the ones that we are going to be reporting on are things that we are still currently open on our books and that we will be have outstanding payments for. Anything that we are wrapping up, you will not see.
Okay,
Um,
perfect.
It appears that One Cafe is out of business.
Yes.
So, were they eligible for more money from us? In other words, was there disbursements that didn't happen or were owed them? No?
No, they receive all their reimbursements,
Did they?
what they were approved for. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They what, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Oh no, they received their funding for the amount that they were approved for. They had received it. The project was completed. We had a grand opening.
Where's the address of this one?
One Cafe on 6th Court and 125th Street, around the corner where Tommy's Shoe Repair used to be.
Oh, okay.
And they're out of business already?
Yep. So, okay.
Now, did we fund, they were
The
funded?
CRA did fund them, yes.
Okay, so now that equipment and everything that we did is still there? How do we,
Yes, it is. I think they have a new owner. We are going to contact them.
Yeah, we need to have an internal meeting. This is still pretty new information, so we're going to be seeing what remedies we may or may not have.
Oh, okay. Okay.
and what did we put into the place? What was our expenditure, do you know?
If I remember correctly, I think it was 150,000.
So we 150,000 that we put into remodel the place. Now there's a new owner coming in?
Well, supposedly.
Supposedly, yeah. We hope so.
Well, we hope so, but yeah, that's what we've been told.
So we'll see. Okay, anything else from,
I'm good, Mike, thank you.
oh, you're welcome. Okay, that being said, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you.